And welcome to this episode of Life After the Lead podcast. I'm so excited today. You know why I'm excited? Because one of my dearest friends from my youth, I used to be younger, is here. We were hallmates at Howard University, the Howard University, the Mecca. And I'm so excited that she's here to talk about what she's doing in her line of work and in her business. Welcome, Miss Kimberly Roberts. Hello, Kimberly.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm so glad you're here.
I'm very excited to be here.
Yes, we have been friends for how long?
40
Oh, do we want to
years.
say the number? It's not quite 40 yet, though. It's not quite 40.
Not quite 40, not
We
quite
were
40.
teens. We were
Yes,
teens when we connected all those years ago at the wonderful Howard University. And I'm just so glad that you're here and that we're still friends.
me too, me too. This has
Yeah,
been a great friendship over the years for sure.
it has been. It has been. And you're a native Chicagoan, and I am as well. But when I was at Howard, I had just moved from Mississippi to come to DC, and I had a thick accent and everything. But I'm a Chicagoan as well. Some people say people in Chicago have accents anyway.
They do. They do have a Midwestern accent for sure.
Yeah. A little. We use a little Southern words. We say, we say pop, that kind of stuff.
Yes,
Anyway,
yeah.
I digress. So I'm glad that you're here today, and I'm glad that you're a member of Life After the Leap. You've been with Life After the Leap, the group, for I think since we started, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. And you have been a part of the group, and you've added value to the conversation. So I want to thank you for that. But I also wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about your story, because I think it's really cool too. And I think it's inspirational for people who are thinking about going into entrepreneurship or transitioning their lives in that way. And so I want to talk about inspire creativity. I'm a purchaser. I buy Inspire Creativity products, and I want to talk about that just a little bit.
Yes, and we appreciate you for making your purchase very much. So I'll tell you how it started. It started with me making these products as gifts for people. And folks really liked them. And they said, Kimberly, you should really think about selling them. And I'm like, they're gifts. Why would I do that? This is for your enjoyment. I enjoy making them. You enjoy receiving them. I don't think of it as a transaction. I think of it more as a gift, me giving a gift to friends and family. And people were like, they were insistent. No, get a website and do this. And so what ended up happening in 2019, I was working a job that was literally breaking my soul.
Mm.
And it was one of those things where I was making more money than I had ever made before in my life. On paper, things looked really good. But behind the scenes, I was very, very unhappy. And so I was one of those people. What was the name of that term when people just quit in 2019? I can't remember the name of the term right now.
Oh gosh, we get something.
Okay.
Let me see if I can cut. Let me pause that. I don't know why we're getting a feedback, but yeah, people were just it was the Great Resignation.
The Great Resignation. So I was part of the Great Resignation in 2019, like right when the thing, started. Then the pandemic came. But I had really decided even before I quit my job that I was going to do something different, wanted to do something different. And so I started the infrastructure of building the business. I went and got my LLC. And I started to do some creative things in the state that I was living with at the time, Virginia, to make sure that I could start a business if I wanted to. So I did that before I even resigned from my job. And then when I did resign, as I said, the pandemic hit, no one was hiring. And I just then started continuing to build the infrastructure, built my website, started making the products, and it went on from there.
So I love that you talked about it. I don't know why it's still giving us the feedback. But I love that you talked about it in terms of it was passion, like it was a passion thing, a passion project. You were doing something for friends, and they recognized the value in what you were doing. At the same time, you were in this job that you described as was breaking your soul, right? It's the Beyonce
Yes.
song. You won't break my soul, right?
Yes.
I totally understand that on all the levels, right? Because I've been there. And so you were very thoughtful though in your process, right? So you talked about you first did your homework around what's possible in Virginia for creating LLCs, like what is the background work infrastructure that I have to pull together in order for me to transition my passion into actual entrepreneurship, into a business. And so is that's I think that's an important point to make, because I think many people have a passion and people enjoy whatever they're producing, but they don't necessarily have a plan,
Yes.
and they sometimes jump off in the deep end of the pool of entrepreneurship without having done the homework that is required in order for you to be successful and not be drowning, for lack of a better term, in that deep end of the pool that you just jumped into.
Yes. 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 Totally agree. And I think that was one of the things that made me feel comfortable about leaving my job, is that I went ahead and did that. I got the LLC, got my tax ID number, you know, got my business license, things of that nature immediately before I even quit, because I didn't want to have to chase that down afterwards. At least those pieces were done. I don't even want to say in the works. They were done so I could focus on being creative, making the product.
And so as you think about those early days when you were getting set up, and you were thinking about what that transition was going to look like, did you have an idea in mind about like financial reserves that you would have to have in place in order to successfully leave your job?
Well, I knew, several months before I left, what I needed to do. So I immediately paid off debt, all my debt. And then I did put aside a pot of money to start a business.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a huge pot by any stretch of the imagination, but it was some money.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so you eventually ended up leaving that role that was breaking your soul. Did you stay in Virginia?
Yes.
Okay, so you stayed in Virginia. You started to work the business. Did you get another job, a different kind of job while you were still building your business?
I did. I had a consulting job. As a matter of fact, I had 2 consulting jobs. And so that helped me pay other bills, and including health insurance, which of course, is a huge bill. It was more than my mortgage at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could really focus on the business while I had these consulting jobs.
Excellent. And then, so how did you transition then from Virginia to where you are now in Illinois?
So I decided, it was still here in the middle of the pandemic, and I'm here in Virginia. My mom is here in the Chicago area, and I just felt disconnected, and I wanted to be closer to her as things continue to progress. The numbers were just crazy, and I felt powerless being that far away, and I just felt like I needed to be closer to where she was. She's my life. So I was like, I got to get to where she is.
Yeah. I think one of the things that came from the pandemic was this whole unveiling or reminding of the things that are important in our lives. And it drew many people back to center.
Yes.
And what makes them happy, and what things bring them joy, what things can they feel passionate about, because we all tended to offload those things that no longer served us.
Yes.
And so you moving back home, it makes total sense that you were in that space, because you were, even though, like you said, you were making more money than you had ever made before, right?
Yes.
Right. And I tell people all the time, when you are doing what leaning into what you think God will have you to do, the devil will get busy and make it very lucrative and hard for you to leave the path
Yes.
that that is not serving you, right?
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
but you were able to, despite the the offering that they had that was paying you more money, etc. You chose you and your passion, and you decided to make moves that that gave more life to you, that created more connection for you and your mom, things that served you better. So I really just love that you were able to do that, because not sometimes that's hard for people to figure out how to do.
And it's so funny because as I was going through this process, it was one of those things where I started observing people around me. It was a very fast paced, high powered kind of job. And I felt like I was being hazed every day.
Mm.
And I'm like, this is not normal. Do you know what I mean? This is not normal. I've been in corporate America for a while now, and I've never been hazed on a job before. Like I had to pass a test. I'm like, I've already been hired. I know I have the skills and capabilities to do with the job, but now I'm on the job and I'm being hazed. And then I noticed incidents of coworkers who clearly were using substances, alcohol, antidepressants, and things to cope. And so I thought about it and I was like, is this what I want my long term to be?
Wow.
If I stay in this job? No, immediately. No, this is not where I need to be for me. This is not where I want to go. So this decision was easy, truthfully, because I did not want to be or not want to experience the things that my coworkers were experiencing. That job wasn't that important to me. I work to live, not live to work.
I salute your courage in that decision, because again, I think, there's a narrative that we kind of grew up on, right? You go to school, you do your best, you get these degrees, you go work this corporate ladder. In my case, it was inside of education. In your case, it was, corporate America. And you're supposed to stay there for 30 days and wait for your pension. 30
Yes.
years and wait for your pension, right?
Yes.
And you make some moves where you move up in the organization. Maybe one day you'll be CEO, right? But you play the game and you get there because it's this magical pension that's going to come at the end. And I was talking to my coach about it one day, and she was like, who has ever been set free by their pension check?
Yeah. Yes.
You know what? It's not, and I don't knock anybody getting a check. I don't knock checks. I want all
Yes.
the coins, right? Like everybody else. But at what cost?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What I know that a lot of people who have spent years and years in organizations being unfulfilled,
Yes.
waiting to have PTO approved,
Yes.
you know, um, hoping that they can, the FMLA gets approved, so at least
Yes.
toxic people. I mean, just all kinds of crazy stuff, right? And it's worked for a long time, but now I think it's like this grand awakening that we don't have to choose that anymore. We can actually choose ourselves, and we can make money being an entrepreneur and being thoughtful around our own passions, our own hearts, our own connectivity, and again, our own care for ourselves and the people that we love. So I think it's really courageous that you were able to do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So okay, so you've got this amazing company. It's called Inspire Creativity. I'm gonna put it on the screen.
Okay.
And this is your website. So talk to me about Inspire Creativity body products. Tell us about them.
So since I was a kid, I've had issues with eczema and dry skin. And so I first created the products for myself because I was suffering from, this really crazy dry skin. And I found that after I made the products and used them, my skin improved. So that's why I started making things as gifts. And so when friends and family started using it, they were like, what did you put in this? Because my skin is glowing. And they loved it. And I've always been a student of natural products, essential oils, things of that nature, just because I like them. That's the crunchy granola side of my personality. And so initially, that's what I started and still do use in a lot of the products. We have ventured out into some things that are not essential oil based that people really love. But for the most part, things are as natural as possible. Very, very minimal preservatives. I think there's only one or two products that actually have preservatives in them.
Well, I think products are extra special. I too have been a long-term sufferer of eczema, and I use your skin scrub and I use the skin butter, and I've seen a tremendous response in my body to the natural oils, the shea butters that are there. It has really made my skin feel much better. And so I believe in what you've been able to pull together, and it definitely works. What's your number one seller?
The skin butter for sure. People really like the skin butter. And I've slowly but surely trying to create products for men. So another top seller is the beard oil. Men really like the beard oil, and women really like the botanical hair oil as well. Is I use oils that are really good for the hair and scalp, but also essential oils that are especially good for the scalp, like rosemary and geranium. And people are really responding well to that as well.
I think it's so timely to be in the hair oil space. So many of us are letting go of our perms, and like I have natural hair, and I don't have a protective style. A lot of times I wear protective styles, but that's because I just also didn't know how to style my natural hair.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
So now it's like trying to find the right products for it, and being okay with how it looks and how it
Yeah.
grows out of our heads. And so I appreciate too that you have created some products that are again natural and
Yes.
healthy, but are aligned to hair maintenance and growth and all of those things. So I really just love the products, and am excited to be able to share with the group at Life After the Leap about what you have, and your story. I think your story is incredible, and is very much aligned to what we talk about a lot with the Leapers.
Well, thank you so much. I'm thrilled that you have been enjoying the products. And as I continue to expand the product line, I hope that you continue to, check it out, give me feedback. I always want feedback, good and bad, because that helps me improve things. Can you hear me?
Up there we go. We're back. Yeah, there you are. It helps you. We left off with you were talking about how the feedback is important to you because it you actually use it to help improve the product.
Yes.
Awesome. So if someone wanted to buy, they would go to what
They would,
address?
they would go to tryinspiredcreativity.com.
Okay, so I'm going to create a banner and put it across the bottom, and it's www.try inspiredcreativity.com. Okay, I'm going to run it across the screen so everyone can see it. And that way, there we go.
All right.
There it is. Look at me. I'm very techie. But people then can try that. And I just want to encourage them to look at the products and try them out. There's so many amazing products out right now, but not a lot where there's a growing number in the Black skin hair care skin space.
Yes.
But we just had another brand, Mayel, that was bought out by Procter and Gamble, right? So we're losing we're losing space, with where is distinct minority ownership of products. And so I really love to support small business and to ensure that we create more awareness so that hopefully your brand will grow.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So if you had to give some advice for someone who is thinking they've got this great idea, they've got this passion project that they do, something that that brings them joy, and they're afraid to step their toe into the entrepreneurial pool, what would you suggest that they consider doing first?
Do it anyway. Do it scared. And ask people, what you should do. Connect with organizations that can help you build a business plan, so actively, do a SWOT analysis so you can try to understand what the competition is out there. Check prices on everything. Find 3 suppliers, find 5 suppliers for one thing that you need, because eventually someone's going to go out of business, someone may not have it. So make sure that you have a backup to the backup to the backup. And ask questions. Try to connect with other entrepreneurs and find out their story, find out how they did it. Because most people are helpful and want to give you advice, because they don't want you to get into the same pitfalls that they got into.
I would agree with all of those things. I think the thing that kind of mirrors your story is that I started my prep work for my LLC before I left my job, right? And so you gotta have something in the meantime, right? Because it could be feast or famine as you put your business together and you really launch your products and you get out into the space. And it's a lot of work. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
That's right.
You got to be ready to spend time, late nights, doing all of the things. But like you said, enlist help. Find out where there are organizations, people, others who will mentor you through the process. What services are free? Like, I love the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
They got a whole little division over there waiting for somebody to start a business so they can connect with you and help to mentor you through a process.
That is very, very true. Mm-hmm. Very true.
Yeah, exactly.
And I try not to say no to any opportunity. I do showcases in large venues and small venues. I started doing something where I was able to place product in a hair salon that a friend of mine owned. And I never thought that I would do that, but it just so happened in conversation where this person who owned the salon hadn't even tried the product. The customer approached me. And so she said, you know what? I sell other things here in my shop. You should probably think about selling things in my shop. We could, work out a financial arrangement. And I did. And that got me exposed to more people. And so when I did move from Virginia to Illinois, I was able to really connect with other small business owners to say, hey, I could do a showcase, we could do a profit split, and things have been working from there.
Awesome. Well, I think that's a great idea. I mean, I know that there are several entrepreneurs who have brick and mortar inside of the Life After the Leap group, and we'll be expanded in 2023 when we're pushing out into our YouTube space, so others will be able to connect with you. But you're open to being carried in Target. Let's put that in the ethos. Target. Walmart.
Yes. It's very interesting that you say that, because I went to an event this week, and I was able to meet with some Target staff and find out about their accelerator program, the same one the woman who owns Mayo Organics started with. And they, have been encouraging me to apply for the program. So I'm applying for the program. Hopefully I will be accepted. And who knows, you might see my products on a Target shelf.
I would love to see that. I 100% believe that that's going to happen to you. That just came into my brain. I'm a little psychic anyway. So that just came into like Target, Walmart, like why not? Why not? And then also like in the meantime, in between time, and even after you're in Target and Walmart, being carried in some smaller places that we frequent. Barbershops, beauty salons, all of the places that you kind of talked about, I think it's an excellent place to be. It gets you into the market, and people can really grow and appreciate the brand as much as I do.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So any last thoughts before we transition out of the podcast today?
Now, I would say to anyone who's considering making the leap to go ahead and do it. Be brave, be bold, do it afraid, and enlist help and suggestions from everybody that you know. Don't be afraid to do the grunt work, because the grunt work pays off big time. Small connections can sometimes pay off big. So don't take anything for granted.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much. I appreciate our almost 40-year friendship.
I do too.
And the fact that you're willing to come and share your expertise and your passion and your experience with us today on Life After the Leap. I'm going to encourage all of the leapers to go to www.tryinspirecreativity.com. Buy a whole truck full of products, and give her some feedback on how you feel about the products, because they're really, really good.
Yes, thank you.
All right. That's it for this episode of Life After the Leap. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your day. We hope to see you next week on Life After the Leap. See ya.